Have you gotten to the point where you realized you've probably done every single technique in the book? You've even went so far as setting alarms. And when the alarms go off, you remind yourself of what your manifestation is or what self you are. And at the same time, you're still running back to your techniques and holding on to them by sheer will and determination that these techniques are going to bring you your desire, and yet reality isn't showing you shit. And things seemingly are getting worse, or just nothing at all is happening. If you have had that experience, or if you are having that experience right now, well, this is the video for you, because I'm going to show you how doing all of that crap, why it hasn't brought you what you wanted, and I'm going to tell you how to do it, how to live the life you want. Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy Hbics. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I hope you're all doing fabulous. I hope you're all choosing to be the versions of yourself that have exactly what you want. I hope that's what you're doing. And for my buddy Lester, if you need help figuring out what's going on between you and your manifestation, please feel free to email me at manifestingwithKimberly@gmail.com. All of my different coaching options are in the drop box below and in the screens that probably just went by, unless I took the screens out, and I can't remember at this point what my intro is. That tells you how many videos I have. But no, seriously, if you would like help with your manifestation, you really can go down into the drop box below, and how to contact me is in there. And if you have the patience, well, then I would love to work with you through regular coaching. But I also offer the emergency coaching, and that's for those of you who don't want to wait. My regular coaching list it's got a bit of a line, and I'm grateful for those in the line. I much appreciate you. But if you don't want to wait, that's what emergency coaching is for. But also, if you'd like to hang out with me more than once a week, more than just my daily video, then I think you should join my VIP Advanced Manifestors channel membership. That membership gives you access to all 3 of my channel memberships. So that means you'll be hanging out with me for over 3 hours every single week. I mean, it's split up, an hour here, an hour there, an hour there. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to get you overwhelmed with me. But the Advanced Manifestors is where we deep dive conscious manifestation to help you expand your awareness and get of the understanding of what you are doing with your consciousness, your conscious awareness. Basically, it's to help you stop shitting yourself over what's going on in 3D reality and help you step more into the knowing that you really are going to have the things you want. That's what that group is for. But that group gives you access to the exclusive lives group, which today would be a great day for you to sign up, because we have our exclusive lives meeting tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the success story and tips and tricks only group. We don't talk circumstances, we talk success stories. And it's always a zhuzh train, like I like to say. If you don't know what a zhuzh is, well, you're about to find out. A zhuzh is when you get all zhuzhed up and excited in the knowing of who you are. Basically, you're going to get your manifestation. That feels good, doesn't it? But that's what that group is for. And we also have the hot seat group, and that's the group that you hang out with me on Friday mornings, where we are open to talking about anything conscious manifestation related, including your circumstances, if you want to ask me questions in regards to those. So that group also does get the occasional success story, meaning someone who couldn't make the exclusive lives meeting comes to the Friday group to share it there, which I think is amazing. But yeah, you get a lot of conscious manifestation support throughout the week. You meet like-minded people who are into the same things that you are. Yeah, there's lots of people in these channel memberships of mine who have become friends, even, I guess, manifestation buddies. You know, having a friend who is also consciously manifesting. But it's not to sit and talk about your damn circumstances, though. That's not what one is for, just saying. Regardless, all of that is in the Dropbox below. Now let's get into today's video. Seriously, long enough, right? Okay. So, I'm sure, I know I have been there, where we go through all of the different techniques that we hear about in this manifestation community, whether you're coming from the law of attraction or the law of assumption, or maybe you've never heard of either one and you just showed up on my video today. And you're figuring out that, oh my God, I can actually have the life I want. I can actually experience the things I want. I can have the relationship with the person that I'm into. I don't have to be a poor bitch anymore. I can actually have the career I want, the car I want, the house I want. Those things are possible. I don't know. And then our logic pops in, we start doubting, and then the cycle begins. Well, if you have found yourself in the place of you've been through all the techniques and nothing has worked, and listen, as a content creator, let me just say, I'm very aware that there are fads in the manifestation community. And what I mean by that is the waves of information and how certain topics become super popular for, you know, several months, and then they kind of fade away, and then new popular topics show up, and everybody and their mom is making a video about that topic, and each one of the different creators is speaking in a way that means they have the answer to all your dreams and desires, when in reality we're all just humans that are individually evolving, but at the same time those individual humans are all connected to the one, the absolute, the I am. You see, today is maybe your introduction to never really having to do techniques ever again. Now, this video is in no way to say techniques are bad or to pick fun of any particular techniques. Nope, that's not what this video is for. So if you thoroughly enjoy doing your manifestation techniques, you continue doing them. But if you're someone that has been through them all and they're just not working, then today we're going to talk about the truth of who you really are. Now, for some of you, this isn't going to be something new. You have already heard me bring it to your attention that your consciousness is God, the universe, a higher power, source energy, moonbeams, the I am. That is who you truly are. And you might understand that theoretically. You might understand it from the place of, okay, I get it. I'm God, and, you know, my real self is God. But I feel very much like I'm just Kimberly. I'm still Kimberly. Now, before we go down any of the spirals into your character, into the avatar, you see, I think that we want to be careful in the way we talk about the character, because the character isn't bad. Just like the ego was never bad. But you see, we used to demonize the ego. And now we're beginning to demonize the character, the avatar, the individualized you. Now, when I say individualized, I just mean because we're all connected to the one, the absolute, the I am. Every single one of us is. And you see, it is that same God who manifested, created all these individual versions of itself to experience physical reality through this individualized self being, whatever you want to call the who you are, the character. You see, the beauty of knowing that you are God has now, I hope, opened up the doorways to understanding that your whole life you have been, in a sense, role-playing. Role-playing as the character you. And for the rest of the video, we'll refer to me as the character Kimberly. So my whole life, I've been playing the role of Kimberly, right? Because my consciousness is God. My true self is God. From there, I am this character, this individualized self, right? Consciousness experiencing physical reality through this avatar, this character, Kimberly. Now, I want to set the precedent of sincerely getting it very, very clear. It's okay to still be the character. We're not meant to erase the character away. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we used to demonize the ego. You have to fix your self-concept. Oh, you think that bad thought? That's just your ego. It's your ego messing with you again. And it led to a place of where we would consistently talk shit about our ego. Even that's a made-up word. Isn't everything? You see, because every single thing we know, everything we experience, everything we think about is a condition, is a belief, is something manifested from consciousness. Your character is so that you can experience the life you want. But because you are God and you have the option to be anything or any version of yourself that you want to be at any given moment, you have the free will choice to decide who that is for you. So when I first found conscious manifestation, I chose a version of myself that seemingly was open to the idea that I could manifest, but I was still very much tethered to the beliefs and the experiences I had had up until that point. The character is not meant to go bye-bye. The character is meant to evolve and to rise in consciousness as it knows itself as God, but not to be eliminated. And as long as this avatar is living, breathing, experiencing the physical, living in the meat sack, you're always going to be experiencing life as the character. Can you take a moment to observe the observer, to know yourself as the I am? Can you observe that? Can you connect with that? Yes. But any time you experience physical reality, which is pretty much all the time, you are in the character. But the character can change. The different roles the character can play is up to you. What is to never be forgotten is that you're God, that you're consciousness, that you're more than the limited character version of yourself. You're always choosing. It's always choosing. From moment to moment to moment to moment, moving through states of consciousness over and over and over and over and over again. But ultimately, as you experience the physical, you're doing it with the character. This is why we don't want to demonize the character. You're going to always be the character. Always. Everything you do in physical reality, everything you touch, every person you're talking to, intermingling with, you're doing it from this avatar, from this character. Your options are the different versions of the character as you rise in consciousness. Another way of wording that is move through states of consciousness. You can effortlessly manifest by simply knowing that you're God and remembering that as you move through your day. But you see, what's important to know is that as you experience reality with or through the character, you haven't stopped being God. That is where I think the misunderstanding comes in, because we don't want to demonize the character. God doesn't have a switch it turns off. It's still God experiencing reality. God is everything. Consciousness is everything. So when you're noticing that 3D reality doesn't necessarily look the way you think it should, and maybe you're seeing things in reality that are disappointing or disheartening, or making you feel like you're getting left behind and life isn't changing for you, I assure you it is. It is. But your perception of reality lets you know what version of the character you're showing up as or experiencing reality from. But you can change that simply by observing the who you are. Well, how do you observe who you are? Well, this is the time to quiet the mind. And in a sense, it's like stepping out of the mind and viewing it from afar. It's called observing. It's important to know that you might hear topics of God states and things like that. And it's important to know that every state is a God state. God is all. God is everything. God doesn't dip in and out of you. God is always there and always within you at every given moment. And the truth is, you sincerely don't need to do a damn thing in reality. You don't need to do another technique. You already inherently know your desires and what you want, right? So there's no more needing. There never was the needing to convince the subconscious mind of what you want. Can I say the phrase specific person without you immediately thinking of your own specific person? Can I say the word money without you thinking about your own money scenario or what your desire is? So even your desires are coming from that same consciousness. I have said, probably since, I don't know, from the beginning of my channel, everything you experience is all about you. Everything and every experience has purpose, has meaning. Think of it as every single experience you have, everything, every downloaded thought you get has purpose. That is your expansion, your own rising in consciousness. And as you rise in consciousness, you start to see, experience, and believe that there really wasn't ever anything you really needed to do to get the things you want, other than come into that understanding or come into that knowing. But it was happening all along. You were being moved through experiences anyway. This is what I'm trying to say to you, that the truth of manifestation, or how to do a lot less in your manifestation journey, is to know yourself as God and know comfortably that everything you experience is leading you to those things anyway. Now, for my logical friends, I know that's not an easy one to accept. Because we as humans, we are conditioned to do. All that is required of you who seek a change is to rise to a level of that which you desire without dwelling upon the manner of expression. Record that it is done by feeling the naturalness of being it. All you ever really needed to do to experience the things you want is to understand that. Oh, I want that. I want that thing. I want this relationship. I want that money. I want that career. This is what I want. The moment you agreed with the thought, with that inner spark of a desire, where do you think that desire came from, by the way? It came from God, right? It came from God. Consciousness is everything. From that moment that you said yes to it, you were being led through experiences to rise in consciousness to the version of yourself who has the desire, who knows itself as being the self that has the desire. That's really all you ever needed. If you needed to do anything, it was that. Life is always moving to shape you, to help you rise in consciousness. That's what we're doing. We rise in consciousness. And I assure you that even though you might be aware that you are God, you are not done evolving. Even if you've already experienced, and if you haven't, that doesn't mean you never will, an internal validation, an internal knowing that you are the I am, and you've accepted that, and you walk around freely knowing that you are the I am, even you aren't done. Even you are gonna keep evolving. You're going to keep rising in consciousness. Nothing is over. Nothing is done. Which is why, to all of my friends, to all of my HBICs, I don't want you to ever judge yourself or compare yourself to another. Everyone is having their own unique experience. Each and every one of us. We're never gonna be done. Until what? Until we are out of our meat sack. We're gonna keep evolving. We're not done learning and expanding. But that doesn't mean you have to reach the ultimate level of consciousness in order to manifest. No. Everything, again, I know it sounds repetitive, but it's just what it is. Everything you experience is stretching you, moving you to become the you that has whatever it is you're manifesting. Every single experience. It's all being taken care of. When you step into the understanding of what your awareness is, you might see things quickly start changing in reality. But the desires don't stop. They continue, and you're going to move on to new things. And you will rise in consciousness to being the you that has those things. Knowing yourself as the I am is absolutely, incredibly freeing. Incredibly freeing. But there's still more, and there's still rising to do for all of us. See, even when you first found manifestation and you were doing all those techniques, blah, 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 in one respect, you kind of needed that experience to evolve into the you that is recognizing that you don't need all of those things to manifest. And you might not believe that right now, especially if you're someone who is freshly finding out that the techniques don't seem to be working. It's because of your perception of reality. And you'll rise past that as well. And you'll get your manifestation, and another desire is going to come, and you are going to do the same thing over and over and over until we are all at one with the absolute. So, long story short, right now, who are you? Who do you believe you are? Which version of the character are you? Do you know what your consciousness is? Do you know that you are the I am? Don't be afraid of the character. Observe it. Know which self is experiencing reality. We don't dump the character. We don't leave the character until we leave the entire meat suit. If you notice the trend, we come into downloads and we get a deeper understanding of consciousness, and we evolve past other things that we used to think we needed to do to manifest. That's what's going to keep happening, is we're going to keep evolving past. So your fallback, your safety net, is to know that you are God experiencing the physical through this individualized self. But the individualized self is what you experience reality through. So you don't have to be afraid of the character. You don't have to be afraid of anything. All things will be naturally brought to you because of who you are. That's the truth. The only thing there ever really is to do, if anything, is to know who you are. Who are you? So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow.